Assalamu alaikum, my dear students. I hope all of you are fine and doing well. So, topic here we will discuss it is the comparison of the electrolytic and galvanic cell. Basically, both the electrolytic and galvanic cell they are known as the electrolytic or the electrochemical cells. And in both these cells, a type of reaction that is just happening, it is called as the redox reaction. And that redox reaction is of two forms. The one is oxidation and the other is reduction. When both oxidation and reduction are having in our process, this is called as the redox reaction overall. And when we talk about the different electrochemical cells, first is electrolytic and the second is galvanic cell. So the one thing that is similar in both is it consists of two electrodes. The one is anode and the other is cathode. Anode and cathode. The thing that is similar in this always in electrolytic and both galvanic cells, the process of oxidation will take place at anode and the process of reduction will take place at the cathode. And always the flow of electrons will from anode towards the cathode. This is the electrons flow. These two things are similar in both electrolytic and galvanic cell, and they just differ in four to five ways from one another. So let's have a look on the first difference. First thing, they differ in the type of the reaction. Type of reaction mean the galvanic cell or the voltaic cell is the cell in which there is a spontaneous redox reaction produces the electricity, or simple the process takes place in which the chemical reaction is happening without the assistance of any type of energy. So that's why this reaction we can call as the spontaneous process or the spontaneous reaction. But on the other hand, when we have look on the electrolytic cell, here we have the non-spontaneous redox reaction forced to occur with the external power source. So here we need the electrical energy or any power source from outside for the reaction type, which is called as the non-spontaneous process. So in galvanic cell, the reaction type is spontaneous, and on the voltaic or electrolytic cell, the reaction type is basically non-spontaneous. Then there we have a second difference between the two is they differ in the charges of the electrodes. As both the contain electrodes, the first one is anode and the second one is cathode. But they differ in the charges. When we talk about the electrolytic cell, this is the electrolytic cell and this is the galvanic cell. In electrolytic cell, the charge carried by the anode it is always positive, and on the cathode side it is always negative. And the process of oxidation will take place at anode and the process of reduction will take place at the cathode. So the charge carried by anode will be positive and cathode will be negative. But on the other hand, when we talk about the charges of the electrodes in the galvanic cell here, the zinc which is working as a node, its charge is negative, and here the copper which is working as cathode, its charge is positive. It's mean the anode and cathode charges are different in electrolytic and galvanic cell. In electrolytic, anode is having positive charge and cathode is having negative charge. But on the other hand, in the galvanic, an anode is having negative and cathode is having positive charge. Now the third difference is they differ in the construction of the cells. Basically, the main difference is their difference in their construction. For example, here we have the electrolytic cell. It consists of one complete cell in which only we have a one container and it is filled up with an electrolyte. This is called the electrolytic tank, and the solution of electrolyte is just filled up and the two electrodes, anode and cathode, is inserted into it and attached to the source of energy, which is battery. But on the other hand, when we just look at the galvanic cell, here it consists of two half cells. This is the first half cell or the one half cell, and this is the second half cell. And these two cells are combined and making up the one galvanic cell. On the other hand, a salt bridge is required to keep the solution neutral on both sides, and to check the flow of currents it is attached to the voltmeter. So this is the main difference between the construction of the cells. It consists of one complete cell, and galvanic cell consists of two half cells. The one is oxidation half cell and the other is called as the reduction half cell. The last difference between these two cells is they differ in the energy conversion. So we have two cells. One is electrolytic cell and the other we have it is the galvanic cell. Now how do the energy changes takes place in electrolytic cell? The simple electrical energy is converted into the chemical energy by a non-spontaneous process, and in galvanic cell the chemical energy is converted into the electrical energy, and that reaction is basically a spontaneous process. So this is the non-spontaneous because it requires the outside source of energy, and this process is basically spontaneous because it happens by itself and do not requires the outside source of energy. So this was all about today's lecture. I hope you guys understand, and if you have any queries you may ask me about that in the comment section. The next topic that we will discuss it is the manufacturing of sodium metal by the use of the down saw. For that time you guys keep learning and have a good day.